Last Sunday night, I had returned from speaking out of town, as many of you know, and I was thinking that I would be incredibly tired from travel and speaking, and I was at home, and I was awake at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've learned in my life, as probably many of you have, that there's a difference between time zones, not being able to sleep, which I endure quite a bit. I know that at times anxiety can keep you awake. You know, you're anxious about something, either good or bad. I've learned, that there's a difference between time zones not being able to sleep, anxiety not being able to sleep, and caffeine and sugar not being able to sleep. And then I've learned over my life that there is also not being able to sleep because the Lord wants to speak to you. Sunday night, I knew that it was not time zones or caffeine and sugar. I hadn't had any. Or anxiety. I'd just had a marvelous weekend, and we'd had an incredible weekend here at church. So I knew it was him. He began to put some thoughts in me of what he wanted me to say and do in these last few moments of this seminar together. He was wanting me to talk with you. The best way I could describe it would be from my heart to your heart. To be honest with you, I resisted some as he began to show me. It was almost as if I was having like a small vision. And I was actually seeing myself like I was sitting out there watching me talk about things. And I resisted because it was personal. I didn't want to publicly show my heart. But he asked me to do this and said that if I would do it, that it could help his children. So I agreed. So here we go. Every time I come to church or go anywhere in public, I see couples. Tonight I look out on this great assembly and I see couples everywhere, all around me. I've become more sensitive to that in the last 2 years. When I see you, I want you to hear me. As I look at you tonight, you have what I would love to have. You have it. I would love to have. I said to some friends of mine, before I finished that statement, I said to some friends of mine last year, what I would give to have one more week with Rochelle. To be honest with you, I would love to have 5 minutes. 5 minutes with her. What would I do in those 5 minutes? I would hold her hand. I would hold her. I would tell her that I love her. I didn't do enough of that. I did it, but I didn't do enough of it. I would tell her how truly sorry I am for the times I missed it. I didn't miss it on purpose a lot, but I still missed it. And the reality is that when a guy backs his car out and hits your car, and he gets out and says, I didn't mean to, okay, he still hit your car. Still damaged. I guess that's better than you're looking in your rearview mirror and you see him looking in your rearview mirror and he throws his car in reverse and rams into you. But either way, the damage is done. I would tell her I'm sorry for the times I missed it. Tonight, as I look at you, You are seated next to your spouse. You have what I would love to have. What others in this room would love to have. You have it. I see couples, or even at times, a couple sitting together, and one of them ignoring their spouse and being distracted by their phone or a magazine. I was in a restaurant the other day, and across the restaurant from me was a man and a woman. They had on wedding rings. And the guy was doing everything he could, everything, to get his wife to engage. And he was practically doing backflips at the table. And I was so intrigued watching him. And she was sitting at the table. I could still see her with her leg crossed and turned kind of sideways and just scrolling through her phone like this. And he was here smiling and talking and laughing and reaching out to touch her hand, and would touch her hand and there was nothing. She never missed a scroll. I didn't do it. I wanted to. I wanted to walk over to the table and look at her and say, "Girl, you don't know me." But do you know how many men in this city, how many women in this city would change places with you right now? To have a man sitting at their table that is doing everything he can to engage you, and you won't put down your stupid phone? That's not what I got married for. And that's not what you got married for. I wanted to say to her, "Girl, you have what I would love to have. You have it. Please don't mistreat it anymore. Don't ignore what God has given you." You sit next to your spouse tonight, or maybe you're going home to your spouse, and you have what I would love to have. And yet, I see people all the time treat each other so rudely. When are you going to stop? When are we going to figure out that that's taking us to a pit? It doesn't work. Quit fooling yourself. It doesn't work. It's not going to create happiness in your home. It's not going to bring you closer together. It's going to drive you apart. Why do Americans think, why do we think that we have to be nice at work, but we can be ugly at home? Why do we go out of our way to please strangers and treat the person we're married to rudely? What is wrong with us? Stop it. Please. Stop it. And God, please stop it in front of your children. Because they're going to eat that fruit, and that seed is going to get in them, and they're going to reproduce it. Please remember that you have what I would love to have. Yet people fight over mistakes. Fight over mistakes. Well, she left her shoes out. I would love to come home to Rochelle's shoes. She used to leave them out all the time. I used to step on them and they hurt like the dickens. Those little high heels really hurt when you're barefooted. Really? Really? We're going to fight over that? Really? You know, I don't think that's what Jesus had in mind when he was on that cross and he was saying, I've come to give you life and life more abundantly. Forgot to go buy the cleaners, or they didn't pick up milk like they said they would. Really? Get in the car and go get it. Fight over stuff that, in truth, if you just step away and look at it, is so silly. You have what I would love to have. And yet we're so willing to get mad and go to war. Stop it. Please. Stop it. Sign a peace treaty in your house. Quit going to war. It's not worth it. All of you are going to lose. Here's my last thought. I want you to go home tonight. And if you need to ask for forgiveness, please ask for it. If you need to give forgiveness, please give it. And when you're done asking for and giving forgiveness, get down on your knees together. I don't mean that figuratively, I mean it literally. Get down on your knees together and ask God to forgive you both. For mistakes, big and small. Opportunities missed. For taking each other for granted. And ask God to reignite your seed of love. And then get in bed and hold each other. And think about what this is all about. And what's beautiful and precious in your relationship. Then, I don't want you to have sex. I want you to make love.